Hello and welcome to Day One Patch Podcast, episode 560. I don't know. I like that number for some reason. 560. Looks good on the layout, Matt.
Just the 560? Like, is it?
Well, episode 560.
Is it like? Oh, I was gonna say, is it like 560, like a radio station, like 560 AM or something? If they even go down to that.
Oh, yeah. I've never really listened to AM. I don't think.
My entire family growing up used to listen to Oldies 1150, which was AM for sure.
What's crazy is Teslas don't even have an AM radio in them anymore.
Really?
Which is like seems bizarre. It's like I know it's old, but it's like how much did it cost to throw in? Like do they still sell separate FM AM antennas and crap? And
well, what's interesting is I believe that AM is still pretty popular for talk radio because it's warmer.
Yeah,
it's kind of a lesser quality, but that warmth lends itself to not podcasts, but you know what I mean. Like a broadcast conversation.
I'm sure licensing those airwaves too are probably cheaper.
Oh, maybe that's a good point.
But anyway, I'm your host Ryan Johnson. Welcome. This is Matt Lawrence is with me.
Greetings.
Here in the same room.
No, we're still in our separate bunkers. Actually,
here's the question: have we been on Zoom longer than we've been in person now?
I mean, I have every episode cataloged, so we could literally figure it out.
Oh man, that'd be weird to listen to the first podcast or the first pandemic one.
The thing that's crazy about that one is it'd be kind of hard to find. I think
you'd have to keep jumping back and then kind of jumping in and listening.
You'd have to. Well, you could probably roughly look because I think we did it not as like a self precaution. I think we did it when the formal government quarantine happened.
Yeah,
so probably within like 3. So I guess it'd be easier to narrow down actually than I originally thought. It'd probably be fairly easy to narrow down.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, Matt, do you have a video game fun fact for us?
I do indeed. And this one caught me off guard actually. So I was looking for something to fall asleep to a few nights ago, maybe about a week ago or so, and I turned on one of those, the top 5 PSP games that have, like hidden gems or that you don't know these ones or you'll never know number one, those things to try to get you to click in. And I don't remember the full title, but I clicked into one of those videos and one of the titles was actually something that I literally didn't know. Usually when I click into one of those videos, it's like, oh yeah, like you're talking about, the Japanese version of this game when it did release in the West, but it was different. And you're like, that small distinction is enough for you to say it's a totally different game. That is not the case here, though. I had no idea, and this is actually a double surprise. I had no idea that there was not one, but 2 Yakuza games for the PSP.
Wow.
Yeah, now these are Japanese only, so I'm going to just full disclaimer right now. There's going to be a lot of Japanese words in this fun fact. I am going to mess them up, and I do apologize for that. But there are 2 Yakuza games. Now, when I watched that sort of like top 5 or like top 5 unknown PSP game videos, I only got one, and it was, and this is the Japanese name, Kurohyo Ryu ga Gotoku Shinsho. Which translates to Black Panther Like a Dragon New Chapter. While it was developed, it was actually codenamed Project K, and it is a spin-off of the Yakuza series. When I was doing research into this Black Panther game, I found out that there is a sequel that is Black Panther 2 Like a Dragon Ashura Chapter. And again, this one did not receive a Western release. So these games were first announced on April 21st, 2010, inside the Japanese magazine Famitsu. It launched exclusively in Japan on the 22nd of September, 2010, with later Asian and Korean versions released the same week. And the sequel was actually released just 2 years later, approximately 2 years later, on the 22nd of March, 2012. Now, unlike mainline Yakuza games, that were developed by, and I'm going to mess this up too, Ryu ga Gotoku Studio, the 2 PSP titles were co-developed by Sin Sophia, formerly AKI Corporation, known for Def Jam Fight for New York. And Sega also helped along with these as well. These games, therefore, have a slightly different feel from the console entries. And of course, they're on a PSP, so that lends itself to it too, which we'll get to. They are set in the same red light districts of Kamurocho, but follow a new protagonist, Tatsuya Ukyo, a 17-year-old delinquent who is forced to fight in the underground arena Dragon Heat to clear his name. Now, this game actually did fairly well, surprisingly, despite the fact that I hadn't really heard of it. Japanese sales figures showed that the original game, so just Black Panther, sold about 172,000 copies in its first week. With the second title being pretty successful, but not quite as successful, Black Panther 2 bringing in about 104,937 copies in its debut week. So what's this game about? It's Yakuza, but it's a spin-off and it's limited by the PSP. What is this thing? This PSP game, it emphasizes, or these two PSP games emphasize one-on-one fighting. So the camera will zoom right in on the protagonist and you're just fighting a single opponent in most cases. And they kind of give the same sort of feeling, I suppose you could say, as that Def Jam game that I mentioned, the Sin Sophia's Def Jam games. Although multiple foes can attack, the focus remains on these individual brawls because the PSP is obviously limited in its own power. So how did the fighting work? So it's mostly hand-to-hand combat, and attacking drains a stamina bar. And when you're exhausted, the protagonist must catch his breath, leaving him vulnerable. There is no on-screen health meter either. Instead, players have to watch for visual cues such as red screen edges and limbs that may suffer injuries. If you do suffer injuries, it can actually affect blocking attacks or might actually affect you kind of punching somebody or doing an attack. Injured limbs must be healed at a hospital or by using items. The game introduced multiple martial arts styles. So you can switch it up between all these different styles. There's a whole list here that I'm just not going to try to say because it's a whole bunch of Japanese words. Players will still explore Kameroko as well as Sotenbori in the sequel. Sotenbori specifically being in Black Panther 2. You explore it primarily on foot. You're not driving around or anything, but you can still discover side missions like karaoke, casino games, hostess clubs, and part-time jobs, just like in the full console games. And story scenes are presented via an animated motion comic cutscene rather than fully rendered cinematics. And there's actually multiplayer, which is kind of cool. So instead of playing as the protagonist, you play as a custom character. This custom character is required to play online. And this online mode consists of missions that allow you to unlock character customization. And these missions can actually be played solo or cooperatively with another player. There's also a standard versus PvP mode. And you can also play that with one-on-one, or you can play that in teams as well. So PvP and PvE as well. The fighting styles from the main game are carried over from the offline mode and are based on the player's progress in the game. So the online helps you progress your sort of character customization in the main game, and the main game allows you to have different fighting styles as well. So what's the kind of the difference between the two? So if you're not familiar with the Yakuza games on the PlayStation 2 and later consoles, Yakuza titles, featured free-roaming 3D environments and multi-enemy brawls with a health bar and a heat gauge. So fights were a little less intimate. It was more about kind of fighting a big group of people and eventually like whipping motorcycles and other kind of items at each other. These PSP games use pre-rendered backgrounds and fixed camera angles similar to early Resident Evil games, and this is due to hardware limitations of the PSP. Combat is simplified, of course, to focus on that stamina mechanic that we already discussed. And there is still they still have the same sort of heat action. So as you're fighting in the Yakuza game, you can kind of do like a heat action. I kind of refer to it as almost like in Dynasty Warriors, you can do a Muso attack. It's kind of like that. And there's still a mini game rich open world. So that's basically it for the game itself. But then I actually learned that there's more to this story. The success of the PSP games in Japan led to a live-action TV drama, which is kind of crazy, and had a 3-volume manga adaptation. So pretty interesting. And that's it. That's the Yakuza games on the PSP.
Were there ever ones on the Vita?
I don't know. I want to say 0, but I don't know if that's true. I feel like that's me just inceptioning it into my own mind.
So you're kind of collecting some PSP games, right?
Yep.
Would you ever do like a Japanese exclusive game like that? Because I know you're a fan of the Yakuza games.
I might, depending on the price, if I saw it in person. The thing with this game, though, is there's actually mods for this game. So one of the things that I did find in my research is that Sega never localized the games, of course, but Western fans can actually use unofficial English patches. From Team K4L, they released an English translation of Black Panther 2 in January 2022. And then they also released a patch for the first game as well. And as far as I know, because I just looked at a little bit of Reddit threads about this, you actually have to use some sort of patching software on the ISO and then use an emulator for the PSP to like run that patch version of your ISO. There may be other ways to do it. Again, I didn't look in too much into that. But I wouldn't play those Japanese versions. Like I wouldn't hold up Google Translate to the screen or something like that if I had the physical copy. But I am pretty interested in actually playing it.
That's cool. I don't know if it would be a simpler game for me to get into if it was like a PSP game. Probably not. I did try Zero, and I never got into that one.
Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe if I tried the first game and then kind of told you whether or not it's
right
simpler or whatever, because it just sounds like they worked around the limitations less, and it's less like this is more of a mobile Yakuza game and less of like we tried to make the full console game, but on the PSP and had to like we hit a bunch of limitations. It kind of sounds like they adapted well, at least from what I've read and from what I've seen. And there's like quite a bit of chatter about it online, actually. So like on Reddit and things like that. So I mean, I don't know how they rated. I saw like one review while I was going through some papers, like reading this, or some websites where someone rated it at like 75 with the English patch and said it was like pretty good.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, that's just some random one-off review. I'm not sure. I didn't, quite look at that. But
yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. Thanks for that, Matt.
Well, thank you, Ryan.
All right, let's hop into our news for the week. Not too much going on. Pretty slow news week as far as I could tell. I usually try to collect things that catch my eye, but I didn't see a whole heck of a lot this week. But one interesting thing, in this whole AI era that we're in, Sony just purchased an AI startup that turns photos into 3D volumes. This is from Engadget. So yeah, Sony Interactive Entertainment, the owner of the PlayStation brand, has acquired Cinemersive Labs, a UK startup developing tools to convert 2D photos and videos into 3D volumes. The startup team will join Sony's Visual Computing Group, a research engineering team focused on graphical technology, including game rendering, video coding, and generative AI models. Cinemersive's most recent product is a virtual reality app called Parallax that works as a viewer for Parallax photos, three-dimensional images that you can peer around with natural head movements, captured using traditional smartphones and professional cameras with stereo lenses. The startup developed custom AI tools to convert 2D images and 3D volumes to make Parallax possible, and Sony apparently wants to apply that expertise to its own projects. Quote, following the acquisition of the Cinemersive Labs team, will join SIE's Visual Computing Group and contribute to our broader effort in advancing state-of-the-art visual computing within games. This includes applying machine learning to enhance gameplay visuals, improve rendering techniques, and unlock levels of visual fidelity for players, end quote. What I find interesting about this is, what is the benefit of converting 2D photos and 3D volumes for games? You're already making a 3D volume. Why do you need something to convert things to a 3D aspect?
The first thing that pops into my head, and it's not really even a complete thought, is it like retro games?
I don't know. I really don't know.
What does it mean by a 3D volume? So like you know what I mean?
Well, 2D obviously is easy. You scan a photo, then you get that parallax thing. I mean,
right.
iPhones do that when you take a picture and you can use it as like your wallpaper. And so as you move your phone, you can kind of see around people. So that kind of stuff already exists, but a 3D volume, maybe it's more than just like a 1 or 2 degree angle shift. Maybe it's like more that you could actually peer around something.
Well, I was curious as to whether they could create real world things with this. Because technically speaking, what we're seeing on the screen is 3D by our perspective, but it is a 2D image.
Yes, correct.
And so I thought was, if you took a picture with one of these things, can I now 3D print the scene I just took a picture of that I just screenshot or something?
I really don't understand it.
Well, the other thing I was going to say, like, I know it's Sony's gaming division that bought this thing, but it is Sony. And
Yeah.
so, like, who knows? Like, they could have some other use cases for it as well. Like, Sony is into obviously their games, but they have like other electronic divisions and things.
Well, they brought up games themselves.
Right. But I mean that the value can expand. Like the gaming division can, share with the TV division and share with
Yeah.
the speakers division and the cameras and all that stuff.
What I'm curious about is like maybe you know how like sometimes like inside of if you're in a city like let's say like Spider-Man for example, and you look inside a room in a skyscraper and it's just like a 2D image inside there.
Yeah, yeah.
Would something like this, is that what they would use it for? You take a 2D image of a room and then put it through this process, and therefore then it kind of looks more 3D when you're looking at it from the game's perspective.
That'd be an interesting use case. And that's kind of what I was getting at with the using it in real life is I'm just wondering, like, I understand that this parallax viewer is for kind of like your what were those things when we had as kids where there were images that were kind of on that like bumpy paper in the 90s and it kind of looked 3D and if you
Oh,
moved them it would kind of move. I don't know if that's a
oh,
parallax paper or something.
there's a word for that.
Yeah, and I mean I haven't seen one of those for years and years, so
Actually,
I couldn't
you know
tell
what's
you the
funny?
name.
That big controversy with PSA recently was over a card that had that effect on it that got screwed up.
Oh my god.
I remember Jurassic Park 2, I think, had it in the on the cover of the VHS.
That sounds right. That I kind of vaguely remember that. But that was kind of my point. Is like the gaming division, like they could do something like what you're saying. They're not limited to that Parallax app. That's like
Yeah,
that's like the viewer for the photos. The
yeah,
thing, the usage direction I'm kind of thinking is more what information is being either distilled, or what can we do with this tech other than just using it as a viewer.
right.
Because I don't think Sony would. I mean, like I guess they could add some 3D effects to their PlayStation like app, but like that's not going to really. Why would you acquire a whole company for that?
Why acquire a whole company for this? Yeah, like is it there unless they see something in the future for it that we can't see?
Well, that's exactly what I mean. Is like maybe this is going to turn into something in the real world. Like
Yeah,
if they're able to extract more data from these 3D volumes and they're able to 3D print things, or they're able to make maybe like what would you call it, like a mural, those types of art, or I see this all the time actually with retro video game. If you go to like a fan expo in the artist alley or something,
hmm,
where they'll take like a scene that is basically like a pixel art because it's a retro game, pixel art side scroller, and then they'll take the various layers, like the layer that's closest to you, the layer that let's say is in the middle, and then the layer that's furthest. They'll
hmm,
cut those out and then they make it 3D, but it's still like you can only look at it from one direction, right? Because it's like you're looking at the pixel art, but
yeah,
it gives you like that 3D effect. I was kind of wondering whether they could make better versions of those because I mean Sony is definitely going to be into selling, and I mean they are into selling merch for their games.
right. Hmm. All right. Well, one of the big controversies, well, not big. I just saw some people talk about this online. Is that like Sony just like closed some studios, obviously laid some people off, but then they go and buy like a company. I don't know how much they purchased this for, and obviously they're a company just looking to make money, and so they're hoping this will help them do that, I guess. So
Well, you and I were talking about this a bit before with AI and like whether it's going to slow down or whatever. And one of the things is I don't know when the last major transition in the workforce was,
hmm,
but this feels like this is like one of those like those moments, and it's just the everyone knew that companies were just out to make money. I just think it's more apparent than ever now.
yeah, hmm,
And it's because we're in this transitionary phase. It's kind of showing that. But I mean, we obviously knew it before.
right. It feels like it more now.
Like they're not going to keep you around if they want this company and they don't need 100 people. They can
Yeah,
lay those 100 people off and then buy this. What are they? Are they going to not buy this?
right. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next story. Speaking of costs here, Xbox's new CEO reportedly wants to make Game Pass more affordable. There you go. Look at them. This is from IGN. Xbox's new CEO, Asha Sharma, just got back from the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco earlier this month, where she seemingly made the rounds among both high-level executives and indie developers in an effort to lay out her vision for the brand to come. And reportedly, one component of that may involve making Xbox Game Pass more affordable. This comes from a report by The Information, which spoke to multiple individuals who themselves spoke to Sharma about Game Pass. They claim that she wants to, quote, make future consoles and products like Game Pass more enticing to a broader range of customers, end quote, an effort which may include, quote, revamping pricing models to offer lower price tiers, end quote. Uh, so yeah, obviously, like, what was it? Was it just last year that Phil Spencer and then the previous team there announced like massive price hike to Game Pass?
Yep.
And that I think pushed a lot of people away. So, do you think simply lowering the price will kind of restore value and faith in Game Pass?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think, like, I mean, this is a person that's just coming in now. I wonder how much they're trying to get, kind of public favor a little bit, because like Asha ended this is an Xbox campaign as well,
Yeah.
which was kind of looked down upon by many kind of Xbox loyalists, if you will. And then
Hmm.
now there's this as well. But I mean, it makes sense if they aren't seeing growth and they're starting to see that they're competing with things like other like apps and other experiences that steal screen time. I mean, trying to make things more affordable, potentially with the partnership with Netflix, like that would be super interesting.
Hmm.
Because like I've had like a solid Netflix subscription for a really long time. I would be enticed by that. Even if it's the Netflix ad deal, the ad tier. I'm likely gonna have Game Pass for the foreseeable future. So I'd
Well,
save $10 a month or whatever it's gonna end up being.
that's the question, right? Do you lower the price or do you add more value? Obviously, it's still gonna be a hard hill to climb when it's like $40 a month. Even if it has all these services, it's still like, oh, do I want to do that or not? The cost of entry is going to be high, even if you are getting more value out of it. So I wonder what the calculus is there. Do they want more people on Game Pass, or do they want people paying higher prices but fewer of them?
No, I think that they constantly show off the subscription numbers whenever they can, whenever they're impressive. I would think that right now they're still trying to get people to sign up to Game Pass. I still think it's in kind of a customer acquisition phase. It's not like cable TV is, gloating about their subscription numbers, right? Like cable TV is now an old hat thing. It's been established. We know that there's thousands of people on it. I assume that number is going down, but who knows?
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like Game Pass has not quite reached that point yet. I
Hmm.
think that they still need to have these customers come in. And I would say just a vibe to me personally when I read through this article is that I actually think that they're not going to make it 40 a month. I think that the current highest price, the ultimate price, is the ceiling for them right now. Is the impression that I got. I think that they would potentially add value to the ultimate tier and not raise the price, or even actually lower the price.
Hmm.
Because if you want to bundle with Netflix, for example, maybe you bundle with Netflix and maybe it's at the ad tier, like I said. Well, they might be able to lower the price of Game Pass then, because that deal with Netflix might be that they get part of the ad revenue.
Oh
If
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I the vibe I got was that they identified, I mean, they probably should have did this before, but they identified that the latest large Game Pass Ultimate price hike was too much.
Hmm.
And now they need to figure out how to lower it. But your value add like proposition is interesting, because it's like that is a value add. If I can cut out $10 a month of Netflix subscription and replace it with this bundled version,
Hmm.
then I'm still technically saving money.
You're right. And a lot of people have Netflix already, and if they could bundle it in with Game Pass, that might be enticing. Because I mean, part of the reason why I kept the Ultimate tier was because we got Fortnite Crew. Now we don't play Fortnite as much right now, but we kind of come and go from it, right? But that was a pretty big value add in my mind, because Fortnite Crew is like what, $15 a month Canadian or something like that.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think 14.99 or something
So
like that.
you toss that in, and that's pretty good. However, my big thing with Fortnite Crew was more getting that like those 1,000 V-Bucks but they lowered that. It's like 800 now or something, right?
Oh, is it really?
Maybe not for crew, but the cost of buying V-Bucks went up, remember?
Yeah, but you still get 1,000 a month or something, right, with the crew or no?
I don't know actually. Maybe you do.
Because I just thought that the price of V-Bucks went up, but I didn't think that crew was affected. But I don't know that, to be fair, to be honest.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, okay, still 1,000 V-Bucks. There you go.
Yeah, because I don't think that I think we have to, like, one of the things is if somebody's getting a deal like that, like 1,000 is a nice round number with your subscription. They're
Yeah,
not, and they raise the price of V-Bucks. I think that people are gonna have, like, they're gonna have a hard time. It's not hard to understand, but it's gonna be a hard affiliation to be like, yeah, that's why you're getting less with your subscription. That's okay, right?
yeah.
That's not gonna be a great affiliation. It's not gonna be a great
No.
look.
So technically, you're getting a higher value now because V-Bucks are worth more. You could even look at it that way.
Yeah, and in a way, until crew goes up.
Yeah. Crew is currently 15.99 Canadian per month.
Okay, so at some point I swear it was 14. So maybe that's when it went up. I don't know, but
But yeah, but adding that to my Game Pass subscription kind of helped me hang on to it because I was ready to get rid of it. Because I did have Ultimate for a long time, then I got rid of it, and then we started playing more PC and console games, and so I got it back again. And then the price went up, and the only reason I kept it was kind of like, well, you kind of convinced me that if I play one Xbox game a month, basically, you're kind of saving a bunch of money.
yeah,
And then
like
on top of that, Fortnite crew was like, okay,
well, Fortnite Cruise and I sad, especially when we're playing it. But I
yeah,
mean, my policy with subscriptions, with certain ones that I use all the time, is if it saves me money in the long run, even if the price goes up to a price that I don't really want to pay, if I'm still coming out ahead, do I really want to
yeah,
pay a higher price? Right
yeah,
now, there's some subscriptions, however, that, like, I don't, that rule doesn't apply to me for if I just really want it, or if it's something uh like if it's something like I like need that thing. So for example, like so I'm signed up to like QuickBooks online and stuff. Like, that's not fun stuff. And I'm not like trying to min max that. It's just like I'm doing my taxes, I'm doing my bookkeeping on there. Like, I need that, right? But when it comes to stuff like, or a better one, actually, maybe a better example would be something where I bought a Netflix subscription and I used to never sit down in this scenario. I used to never sit down and every night and watch TV. But now
yeah.
that I have a Netflix subscription, I'm forcing myself to sit down every night. Those, like, relationships I'm not really into, you know what I mean? So I'm not like forcing myself to play an Xbox game every month. It just so happens that on average, I'm going to come out ahead due to my own normal gaming activities.
Here's a question: Does QuickBooks like automatically put in your subscription to QuickBooks
It does.
into your spreadsheets? Does it?
It
Okay.
does indeed, yes.
If it didn't, I was like, that's kind of crazy.
It does. I think I have to press approve or something. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like it,
Yeah. Not
but
don't
like
do
it
it by
does.
automatically, but yeah, that's great. Okay.
You know what though? What's kind of interesting about this is I just bought, and we'll talk about this when we talk about what we're playing. I just bought Mafia: The Old Country, and Game Pass has like completely turned my buying games thing on its head, and it's kind of a mess. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I was looking at Mafia: The Old Country, and I was like, like $60 or whatever it was. I don't know about that, and I waited until there was a sale, until it was like $50 or $45 or something, and
hmm
then I bought it. And I normally would never have hesitated like that, but I feel like Game Pass has messed that up. But here's the thing: if I got rid of Game Pass, I don't know if that buying habit would change. I think I might be always just looking for the sale now.
Well, that was my big worry with Game Pass from not from the start, but from pretty early on of just how it would lower people's perceived value of games. I think Adriano's in the same boat where he doesn't play a lot of new games, so he's already on. I'm gonna wait no matter what, unless it's a game he really cares about. But that seems to be more rare nowadays for him. Um, so I don't know how you fix that other than getting rid of everything
I mean, yeah, like
for getting rid of Game Pass. I mean,
it makes me feel like I'd almost be like a minimalist gamer or something,
yeah.
where I would be playing my old games to death, or revisiting old games. I don't know. And I don't know what my price limit is with Game Pass either. It's really messed up. I have a really messed up relationship now with video game prices.
I mean, I kind of feel if it goes up again, I might be looking at. I'll reevaluate. It's like every time you have to redo the calculation here.
But are you still, has it skewed your purchasing at all?
No, but, well, my gaming habits have changed where I'm not playing the big AAA release and then completing it within like 3 weeks anymore. Like I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West right now. Like that's a very unusual thing for me to be doing.
But so that like okay, so let's say that type of behavior. I don't know what the price of Forbidden West is, but let's just say it's still full MSRP.
Yeah.
You buy that at full MSRP, but you play it for a long time, and then you're not buying, let's say, a full MSRP AAA title every 3 weeks.
Hmm.
So by playing it longer, you're naturally going to spend less over time. Naturally.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is I actually struggle with the initial price point now as well. I look at it and go, it's $50. I don't know about that.
$50 I don't think is bad for me. $100 is pretty bad, and that's where most AAA games are right now. It's
But
interesting that Mafia is a AAA game,
right,
Mafia the Old Country, and it was like 50 or $60 or whatever it was.
it's in classic style though. It's
Yeah.
very linear in that. But
Yeah.
the thing is though, for me, is what Game Pass has done is it makes me not want to pay that because oh, like I have Game Pass and it's $20 a month or 25 a month or whatever it is. I don't
Yeah.
even look at it. I don't even know what the actual price is.
Right.
But then if I kind of do the math roughly in my head I immediately think, well, $100 for a AAA game with how long they take to make and stuff actually sounds fair.
God.
So
Fine.
it's completely like this is a personal problem. I assume other people have this issue too, though. But my issue now is I'm like $100 for a game actually makes sense. It was like $60 or $70 growing up. It was for a 360 game around that era. It was $80 approximately with taxes and everything all in. Right, it was $80, give or take. And then it's years later now,
Hmm.
and now it's $100. I don't know if that's that crazy. It sucks because everything else has gone up, but it's like, do we expect video games to not go up when everything else has gone up? So that's what I mean by when I do that sort of quick internal math in my head, I'm sort of like, well, $100 game sounds fair on paper. I just won't be there to do it. So what does that say about me? Like, I don't know.
I expect video games prices to go up, of course. Like there's always some level of inflation.
So where should they be, do you think?
I don't know. I just think my biggest problem is it feels like they jacked up their development times and jacked up their budgets and then we're like, oops, put the cost on the consumer. That's what I don't like. This feels like a forced price increase, not one that just happens through inflation. They're the ones who like hired, dozens of extra people that they probably didn't need. They're the ones who have been focusing on graphic fidelity, even though most people say they don't care about it. You know, look at Nintendo selling games. Now, I freaking Mario Kart World was like $120 Canadian, but like their games aren't like amazingly graphically intense games, but people still buy them. So it just feels like they're jacking the price because they're trying to soak more money out of the core gamers because they can't grow to new gamers. That's
Well,
where I get upset.
I would say that's almost two conflicting points though, because if they're trying to soak the new gamers, they wouldn't have hired all those extra people because their extra prices that they're charging are being eaten up by the extra people that they've hired. I'm not saying that the way the gaming industry right now is healthy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I don't expect the same price when I think about when I leave Game Pass behind and I don't think of any sort of game subscription service and I just think about going to a store and purchasing a game. If I was back in the day when games were 80 all in on the 360 and someone asked me on the street, even back then, hey, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, do you think that games are still going to be 80? My answer would probably be no.
Right.
So that's what I mean. I'm not saying there's not a little bit of like the gouging or anything that you're saying, but it also it also spawned another question in my head, and that was: is there any other industry that gets this level of scrutiny from people
On price?
on price? Yeah, I don't really hear about whether like a movie studio overhired and what that's doing to the movies and things like that. But I'm also not into that, so I don't know if like you would have insight into any of that type of stuff. But
Well,
I don't really think of any. I can't really think of any other specific example myself.
I mean, IMAX ticket prices have gone up at Cineplex
Yeah,
over the last like 10 years, pretty like quite a bit. They've gone up quite a bit.
Sure.
and movie budgets have exploded.
But not proportionally. Like games have gone up quite a bit, like to the tune of 20. It depends on the game because a lot of games are not just a flat 79.99 or 89.99 anymore. There's kind
Hmm.
of a bit of a mosaic now. But you're talking, let's say $10 to $20 sudden increase, let's say. But we're not paying an additional $10 for our IMAX tickets, right? It
Uh,
it hasn't been increased that rashly, has it? Because I
it
don't
might
recall
have
IMAX
been.
tickets been $15. I don't recall that.
I think when I first started, like, the movie group kind of thing with a lot of Marvel films and like Star Wars films, when I first started doing that, they might have been around $15, and now they're like 26 or 27.
Okay, so
Actually, you know what? I mean, maybe I don't have time to do it right now, but I can go try to find some really old,
like
um,
ticket stubs.
yeah, because I have all my emails still.
Well, that'd be interesting, because like the question there is like, okay, like this isn't a complete thought, clearly. Like I think this is like still like a thing, a debate almost in my own head to an extent. But it's sort of like, okay, if movie tickets are able to go up that much, and I'm not being super duper critical on about that, why am I being super duper critical about the prices here? And then we also have these other nuances like the game subscription services that are adding nuance to this sort of pricing issue. But then the gaming industry is also kind of in trouble with their ballooning budgets and all the stuff that you mentioned, the ballooning timelines and things. But then but then who do we blame for that?
Yeah,
Do we blame the suits? But it's not just one company that's in trouble. It's seemingly most. But then you also have the other side of things where the double A games kind of back, where there's a bunch
yeah.
of double A games that are doing well. Like I know that Mafia the Old Country is technically kind of like a triple A game. It's kind of more a double A game though.
Hmm.
It's very linear. It's old style. It's very similar in style and logistics wise to the first Mafia, specifically that definitive edition that they made. It's very much that formula, just in the old country, in that time frame, right?
Right.
In that one time period. So I don't know.
Uh, I
Like,
just pulled one up here. So this is 2019.
okay,
Avengers Endgame. So this wasn't even the start of our movie group, but this was, somewhere in it. Avengers End. Actually, this was the end of our movie group, pretty much.
the end game, one might say.
And yeah, the end game was the end game. But yeah, an IMAX ticket was 1950 before tax.
So now it's like over $5 more,
Yeah,
or approximately $5. We'll just say.
and that was 2019, so six years ago. I guess that's yeah. I mean that probably fits, right?
Like, I'm not saying
With
that
regular
things should increase
inflation.
in. To be clear, I'm not saying that things should increase in price. I'm just kind of questioning why should games not go up like everything else.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it'd be great if they didn't. It'd be great if it was more affordable.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. They try to find something older.
Well, we didn't go to like the first Avengers, but like you could look up like Deadpool or something, because I think we did Deadpool, or even that BVS. I think, yeah, we all went to BVS. I'm pretty sure,
Hmm. Oh,
because
that's a big price.
BVS is absolutely BVS, when we went to it, was absolutely an IMAX film.
Okay, that one's AVX. That's not what I want.
Well, actually, that's actually something even to bring up though. There, Ryan, is the top of the line right now is IMAX or AVX. I don't care which one. But the point is that there's variants. You have your IMAX, you have your AVX, which are kind of like your two top dogs. You have your Screen X, you
Hmm.
have your regular screenings, you have your D box, you have a bunch of different things, a bunch of different types of experiences. And that's kind of the same thing with games, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to call buying a game as a standard thing the top dog, but like the standard way to buy a game or get a game is just to buy it. That's now quite expensive, but there's many ways to get a game. You have PS Plus, you get a couple games a month, right? 2, 3 games a month for free. You can get Epic Games for free every month or whatever the heck it is. There's multiple ways. Like even Xbox Game Pass Core, there's a collection of games there. There's double A games that are coming back. There's indie games now. There's massive Steam sales as well. There's also PlayStation sales that are constantly ongoing, seemingly. It's just like there's so many ways to get games now that unfortunately that sort of like standard way to get games seems to have been priced up so much. But there's alternatives to it.
Yeah, that is the other weird thing that's kind of like what's happening in today's culture is like no one wants to be, and maybe this is a social media thing, but no one wants to be the guy with like the cheap phone or the cheap whatever. Like you would think that the Series S would have helped Xbox sell more consoles, but it didn't. It was a lower cost console, and the PS5 still outsold it.
Yeah. Yeah.
because like no one wants to have the cheap frickin' Xbox. Is that a weird cultural thing that's happening right now, where it's just like for some reason people still want the best?
Well, I still think it's still a thing. I don't know if this is like aging or something, but like I drive a very old vehicle, very very old vehicle. And for years people have made fun of me for it, years and years and years. And one of the things I've always said is that you can never take the money that I've saved from driving that thing away from me. Doesn't even
Yeah.
matter if on my next vehicle I get completely I enter into a terrible deal, like a terrible car loan or something like that. I make a bad deal.
Hmm.
Even if I do that, the money that I saved is a fixed amount. You can never take that savings away from me, the idea of the
Hmm.
savings. And there's been quite a few, probably 3 to 4 people in my just immediate friend circle that have come to me in the last probably year and a half that have said, "You were right. I shouldn't have been buying new cars every few years. Look
Mm.
at how much money you've saved."
Hmm.
And like, sorry to say it, but I am right. I think,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Well, anyway, I mean, I definitely would. Well, she wants to make Game Pass more affordable. I think that's probably a positive thing. However, is
yeah,
it possible? And people kind of blame Phil Spencer for the price hike, but we also heard that story that there was that 30% demand of everything has to make 30% profit at minimum,
yeah. The powers that be, the
and
higher ups, right?
it felt like he was forced to make that decision. But is Asha Sharma going to have more leeway for some reason? I don't know.
I mean, if she was brought in, like, there's some people saying that she was kind of brought in as a cleaner. If she's a cleaner, they may have said, "Just do it. Like, just
Just
figure it out.
just just make it profitable.
Just make it profitable, or just enter an objective here. We don't care. Go."
Yeah. All right. Final story for the week. Again, more prices increases. This is the trend in the industry and kind of just at large with a lot of industries. Um, Sony is going to raise the price of the PS5, PS5 Pro, and PS Portal in Canada and elsewhere. Or was it just North America? I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know for sure. I'm not sure on that.
But anyway, we have the Canadian numbers here. This is from Mobile Syrup. Uh, Taking effect on April 2nd. So that's already happened. So if you didn't already get your PS5 at a lower price, it's over. Um, but the standard PS5 is going to be $819.99. What a weird price to begin with. But it was previously $649.99. Digital only, you'll save a bit, $749.99. Previously $579.99. PS5 Pro, I bought this for like 1,000. Maybe it was like 900 something, but actually, yeah, previously $959.99 is now going to be $1,099. And then the PS Portal, I think, is a ludicrous price, $319.99. Previously $269, which is still a ludicrous price for what that device is. But at least it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. But at 320, I think that PS Portal is just like, no way would I buy that.
Uh, I agree with you right now, but I'm gonna throw something at you.
Oh no.
Before I do that, though, I just did a quick little Google here. According to SundayGuardianLive.com, it says PS5 price hike. Sony raises PS5 cost worldwide, and then there's a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of stuff in this article about it. So it is, beyond Canada, of course, and North America, because there's
Yeah.
some Indian prices in here as well.
Well, it makes
But
sense because they attributed this to the global economic landscape, and then obviously Trump's tariffs and the global RAM shortage.
sure. The thing I'm going to throw at you is the norm in buying a console is not buying the pro version. It is buying sort of the standard version, and there's the
Sure.
digital versus the standard version.
Mhm.
Back in like the 360 era, consoles were I don't know, like $400 or $500, something like that, just from memory. Not going to look up numbers because the PS Portal is well under that. My point being is that I think this isn't necessarily why they're doing this. This is probably going to be a result of it. I think that streaming devices are going to become more popular, and those are going to be your standard go-to for gaming now. And so the PS Portal kind of slowly approaching the price of like what a console you kind of expect it to be in your head makes
Yeah.
sense because it might be the newfangled console that people reach for. And I would be interested to know if like younger generations are streaming a bunch, or will they? Like in the near future.
I think you probably have to start off with a new generation of gamers, right? I don't know if I'll ever become a streamer as a gamer. I used to think it was kind of the future, but after the few times I've tested it, I just don't know if I want. I'm too sensitive to that level of latency, and that's a recent phenomenon. Actually, I never used to care about frame rates until uh maybe until the PS5 actually.
You had a PS4 Pro though, didn't you?
Yeah, but that was more 4K, not
Okay.
necessarily 60. So I think it might have been the PS5 was kind of where I probably became more sensitive to 30 FPS.
So, like, you're talking about the latency though with streaming, right? Like, not the FPS.
No, but it's similar in the fact that I notice it, right? And it discomforts me when I notice it. But what's funny is if I was a kid, I had no idea if a game was running at 30 or 24, or if even I didn't even know there was a thing as drop frames. I
Right.
never even thought about it. And I'm sure I played a bunch of games that were dropping frames all over the goddamn place,
Oh,
stuttering and
probably.
having all these sorts of issues. I was just doing it. I was just a kid. I had no idea. So I wonder if they would be fine with streaming games.
Well, see, this is why I kind of theorize as the prices go up, some people are naturally going to get priced out as, as pricing goes up, that just naturally happens. The thing is though, is this is quite a jump down. So take the cheapest PlayStation 5, we're talking it was 579, it is now 749. The PS Portal 319.
Hmm.
So, I mean, do you have fast internet at home? Yeah. Okay. I mean, you want to get your
Buy
kid
the
a
Portal.
console. Who's going to buy what console are you going to get? You always, you're traveling for work and you always stay at a place with good internet. Like because I know that's something you can check out on Airbnb if the Wi-Fi is good and things. Is the Wi-Fi good here? Yep. Okay. PS Portal. Is it as reliable as running something locally? Like if you had a PSP, where it's locally computed, or if you brought your PS5, even if you brought it along. No, but the thing is what you're talking about is more luxury items, having good frame rate, having low latency. Those might become luxuries. It was the norm. Now they're becoming luxuries. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying that like this is maybe what's going to start happening, and then the norm will become streaming because that's the lowest barrier to entry.
Hmm.
That's I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see people get pushed towards streaming. And I wouldn't also be surprised if we start seeing marketing that comes out that doesn't mention streaming,
Yeah.
where they start saying stuff like start gaming on the PlayStation, like start playing PlayStation titles for 319 or 319.99.
Hmm.
I'm not saying this is going to happen right now or even this year. What I mean is as these consoles keep climbing in price, the lowest barrier to entry is going to be something that you can budget easily for, which is a lower cost right off the hop. So PlayStation Portal is one example of this. And then also it is much easier, even for people who are financially irresponsible. It is much easier, not perfect, but much easier for them to budget for something that's like $20 a month.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So if they have a streaming service that's $20 a month, boom, they're in. They don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to have a big old $80 charge on my credit card. What's that going to do to me? Yada, yada, yada. Budgeting for $20 a month is easier.
Right.
And even if you saved at $20 a month, month over month over month, will get to 319 way faster than 749. So that's my opinion. And also I would like to say too is that there are many devices that can stream. Like your phone is possibly even a lower barrier to entry. Arguably, you could just buy a controller, and if your phone is half decent, and you have half decent internet, immediately you're online. Like you're playing.
Do you think that's a reason why we're seeing more console games come to mobile? Like right now on my phone, I have Tomb Raider, I have Red Dead Redemption, I have Civ 7,
Right.
um, The Division Resurrection. While it's a mobile first game, it's still a console level game. That there's that Destiny game that just came out. Like these are console level games now on mobile. Do you think they're like hoping that like okay, if these people can only afford one device to play on, let's make, they're going to buy a phone. If I had to choose between a console and a phone, I'd probably buy a phone. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so maybe that's what's happening.
I don't know. My first instinct is it might be the tools are getting better to convert games or to make games for console level experiences for phones. But we've seen it years and years and years ago. Like BioShock, for example, released on I think it was iPad or something like that a
Yeah.
number of years ago, like quite
Oh
quite
yeah.
a while ago.
And
And we
and Mass Effect, I think.
Mass
if I'm not
Effect,
mistaken.
and there were other titles like it, and that kind of died off. Um, I
Or no,
but
I'm thinking KOTOR maybe.
KOTOR for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure on Mass Effect to be fair,
I
but
think there was a
KOTOR for
Mass Effect
sure.
specific mobile game I played.
That sounds kind of familiar. I've never played these to be fair. I never played
Yeah.
Mass Effect, but my secondary thought is the desire to get into games as a service is huge.
Hmm.
I would say the lowest barrier to entry to get into games as a service is mobile.
Hmm.
And for these studios, maybe they don't want to hire a mobile team, so they just get their console team to make a console game, and then they just riddle it with games as a service stuff, and then throw it on mobile for
Well, a lot
free.
of them seem to be like hiring Japanese developers too to make their mobile games.
That too, of course, yeah, that too. I mean,
Or
like they
did I
might
say
hire
Japanese? I
out.
meant Chinese.
I mean, I'm sure it's both. Like, there's tons of these things coming out at this point. But yeah, like there's a lot of Chinese developers for sure,
Hmm.
making a lot of these games. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. It's another way to cash flow. It's another place to have games as a service money coming in.
Man, you know what's crazy though? Like I have a PS5 Pro. If it breaks and I can't get it fixed through any kind of warranty, well, it's out of warranty now, I think, but through any kind of normal means, I would not buy a new PS5 Pro. I have my old PS5. I'd probably go back to that. You know,
Well, what's your limit? What's your limit on this stuff? Because
it was 1,000 because I paid 1,000 for the PS5 Pro.
so let me ask you a question about this, and this is maybe more about personal spending. So you don't have to answer any of this, but one of the things that I do with personal spending is I take a look at how much I enjoy something and then how much time I spend doing it.
Hmm.
And there's maybe some other nuances in there as well, but just in general. And so sometimes I'll go and be like, you know what, I will spend $300 on this, and that's ridiculous. And I could, the average one's 50, but I'm going to spend $300 on this now because I'm super curious and I'm going to do it one time, for
Hmm.
example. But you, for example, you're a gamer, but you buy stuff because, like for example, you're down to go into a hobby.
Yeah.
So you were like kind of interested. You had a little bit of interest in Pokemon. Now you're into Pokemon,
Yeah.
right? And you've spent more than $1,000 on Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
At this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my thing there is like I'm not into Pokemon. I'm into gaming more. So I'd be like, I already have a PS5 Pro. It broke. You know what? I use it a lot. Guess I'm buying one, and then I would just do it. But I'm less susceptible to getting into a brand new thing.
Okay. Right.
So like I've actually saved more money than you by buying two PS5 Pros than you getting into a new hobby and having a PS5 Pro, if that makes sense.
I think the thing is it's the PS5 Pro that's the thing. If it breaks, I probably wouldn't get another PS5 Pro. I'd probably buy a base PS5. But I already have a PS5.
Right.
So I would just go back to using that and I wouldn't replace the Pro. Because honestly, I can't really tell the difference.
So if you could tell the difference, would you buy one? Would you buy a PS5 Pro? Like what I'm trying to get at is like, do you have a maximum purchase idea for an item, no matter what it is? Like, do you look at a game and go like, I'm only going to pay $90 for that, even if, let's say, you've made a bunch of money that month, or you didn't buy any Pokemon for 2-3 months or something, or whatever. I'm not making fun of you, to be clear. I'm like
no,
legitimately
I'm just
asking, like,
laughing
how,
because I have purchased a lot of Pokemon.
and that's what I mean is like some people, like I've bought something expensive and people be like, my God, like you spent that much on that. And it's like, yeah, but you don't see the fact that like I didn't buy these other 4 things.
Right. I mean, I remember saying on this podcast that $1,000 was probably my limit for a console, even a Sony console. And I paid that for the PS5 Pro because I'm a Sony fanboy and I always like having the better, higher powered piece of technology. I bought the PS4 Pro, and so I bought the PS5 Pro and $1,000, and I was like, okay, that's my limit. So it would be hard for me to justify, even though this one's like, yeah, it was 960, but in my head I always had it at 1,000, so it's technically only $100 more. I don't know if I would do that again. And then when it comes to the cost of games, I think about $100 is my limit, and it's even like those games that are like 93 or 96 or whatever they are. I don't buy those. Those are too expensive. I think we're at my limit.
You care more about, like, just in terms of general budgeting, you care more about what you consider fair price on an individual item, less about how much money's coming out of your account, if that makes sense. And correct me if I'm wrong as well.
At this point, I guess, yeah. Based on what I just said, I would say yeah.
Okay.
Because I do think these I think it was like IGN or someone had posted, this is the first time that in a Sony console's sixth year that the price has gone up. All other previous times it's gone down.
And that's kind of like an injustice. Like, it does suck, to be clear.
It's the world we live in right now, where everything is getting more expensive and where everything is like bottlenecked for some reason. Supply chains are like all connected. You have this RAM shortage, and it's like it affects everything. It's like, you got companies dipping out of the consumer market to only fulfill, AI server investment.
Right. Yep.
But it's just like, where is all the production? Why did we put all our eggs in one basket for all these things?
Fastest way to the most profitability at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is that a new thing that's happened? And that's why we're seeing these rise in prices, because they're, and maybe this is the danger of like, having a globalized supply chain, is like there's an issue in one part of the world, the entire world suffers.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for sure. I mean, if you look at it from like you're playing a strategy game perspective, if you have one village that's self-sufficient and then you go to like branch out to a second village, that second village is not as self-sufficient yet. You have to supply it with the first village. Well, if the first village's supply gets threatened for some reason, now that second village is in trouble, and now you have two villages in trouble.
Yeah, and the RAM thing is very particular because we're seeing an unprecedented amount of investment in these AI data centers. We've always had data centers that need RAM, obviously, but the market was able to meet that demand. But now we're seeing such a ludicrous amount of demand, that there's been like this gold rush, and like you're just sitting waiting for your RAM to show up, and it's not there because it's going somewhere else.
You know what though? I mean, this might just be wishful thinking. Like, I think that the whole RAM explosion thing is dumb, like, to be clear. But at the end of the day, the people that are putting the RAM in, they may be willing to pay the higher prices right now, but they're not going to be willing to do that forever.
No.
And we've already seen Google release some stuff to reduce the amount of RAM that AI uses. And we're probably just going to see more innovations in that area and other areas as well, more and more. It used to be impossible, quote unquote, to run an LLM locally. Then, a year in or 2 years in or so, all of a sudden it was possible to run one, even if it was a little more rudimentary and you needed a really good PC. Because that was one of the arguments I heard was, oh, but it needs a really good PC. Yes, but this is the most inefficient version they'll ever see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it's just wishful thinking or something, but I wouldn't be surprised if we'll see some innovation come out of this hardship, maybe.
I'm just surprised. I'm not a business like person. I didn't go to school for business. I'm just surprised how these industries are like so quick to run to the next big thing, thinking it will make them a bunch of money. It's kind of like scalpers, just waiting to see what's the next big thing so they can make a buck really quickly. Rather than make a bunch of money over time, they like want it now.
Right.
And it's like, why did Crucial just be like, see ya, consumers, we're running into all, servers. It's like, why not just wait? Why not just keep selling to consumers? Keep making the money you're making.
The problem with all that stuff, though, is that that's a web in and of itself, because you have people that are investors, and you might roll your eyes at that. But then if you have a retirement account that is invested in tech, would you want your retirement to grow slower because the RAM companies that you were potentially invested in, would you want them to be cautious, or do you want more money for your retirement now?
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess.
Yeah,
it's a colossal mess. I will say this though, is like, I remember hearing this a bunch during some sort of, I don't know if it was an economic downturn or what, but I heard it during a particular news cycle where it was like mom and pop shops are the backbone of America, and they make up a lot of what the businesses are and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
These big companies, I feel like we think, because of they're covered in the media a bunch and stuff, we get the impression that they are the end all be all, that they know what they're doing and everything. They're just human too, and they're just chasing money too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the mom and pop shops, the reason why they're the backbone of America, or one of the reasons why, is not only because they serve the public, but it's because they are more human. They will help people if they need help sometimes, right? They see the human need, or they see the micro needs. They may see a need in their specific municipality that no one else sees, and they may make $100,000. If they had chased another angle, maybe they could have made 110, but the owner might have felt better about making 100.
Right.
So they did it, right?
Hmm.
I think that's the disconnect. Is there's like levels of business, um, and I think that contributes to it as well, right? And I think that's why they're the backbone.
Yeah.
Part of the reason is because like who would service those micro needs, right? Who would do something for feeling better about it, type of thing. So that I don't know. Maybe that's a little more wishful thinking as well, but it's my take on it because I run a small business and I've seen other small business owners, and there are some small business owners that I know that are like basically working themselves to the bone, and they will always give 10% to charity. No, like not negotiable.
Hmm.
Like I know a sustainable clothes brand that gives a percentage away to the National Parks Association or something, some sort of charitable organization for national parks. The guy is not making millions. And in
Hmm.
fact, like is struggling often. And he says that publicly. So I'm not like outing him. And like that's a small business, right? Whereas, like Crucial being like, we could make 110 million or we could make 120. Fuck it. Bye. And then they don't care about the consumers. They're going to go make the 120.
Yeah, and it's the whole shareholder thing. They have an obligation to the shareholders to make as much
Right.
money as possible.
It, it's a mess. This whole damn thing is a mess.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the news. Moving on, what we're playing. Matt, what'd you play this week?
So I have been playing Mafia: The Old Country. I bought it on sale, and I've been playing it exclusively on GeForce Now. Yeah, so I was away from my PC for a couple of days, and so I thought, all right, I'll just see what happens. So I bought a GeForce Now subscription. I bought the sort of middle of the road tier, and I have a AYN Odin 2, and I thought, I'll boot it up on there. Runs amazingly. There's some drawbacks, but game runs perfect. Had a great time with it, and I keep playing it on there. And then I booted up just for fun. I was like, let's keep experimenting. So got home through GeForce Now on my Google TV streamer. I think it was an Xbox controller. Hooked that up over Bluetooth. Ran it there. A little bit of latency issues, but it's not wired in. So it's like, okay, like maybe I need to do that. But honestly, completely playable and, pretty dang good. I had a bit of PC gaming moments, like had the settings were too high at one point and it was like really chugging, and I thought it was the stream, but it ended up being the sort of VM they give you.
Yeah.
And the only other thing that sucks is it has to compile the shaders every time because it's a new VM every time when you
Yeah.
log in. So that kind of stinks. But honestly, those are drawbacks, but it's been pretty good, pretty dang good. And I've been debating buying most, if not all, of my single player titles
Oh.
on the PC, kind of moving forward, because I thought I'm not like the PC. I'm able to play kind of everywhere, right?
Hmm.
And I'm able to like go generation to generation. Whereas the consoles, I'll keep them around, but like they're more for social aspects.
Hmm.
Uh, so like Mafia, I'm never going to play with anybody. There's no co-op or anything. And so I'm kind of thinking like maybe this is the way to go. Is I don't know if I'm going to keep up the GeForce Now subscription. That's yet another subscription. But I know that if I go on a trip or if I, for some reason, I'm going to be away from my PC for a while, I have an option that is relatively affordable, and I can access my PC library.
Man, I mean, if you really wanted to min max your gaming, you could totally wait for Steam sales, uh, you use those sites that
Resellers.
resellers, um, buy older games, and then just subscribe to something like the
GeForce Now.
GeForce Now, and just play your games that way. That way, you don't need to buy a $3,000 PC or a $1,000 console. You really could do that.
I'll do you one better. You buy Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. You have all the games. You never buy a game. You have the streaming. You
Yeah.
can stream it on the PC, your phone. You can stream it on your TV.
Yeah.
Etc.
Hmm.
There you go.
That's crazy.
But that game, like speaking of the game and not just the experience, kind of running it, I've been really digging it. It's very. I've seen like quite a few people kind of say it's like kind of like a 7 out of 10. I totally get that. It's definitely slow. It's old feeling. It's not pushing gaming forward. It's not doing anything super revolutionary or innovative. It is totally sort of a classic action game, if you will.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's a great setting. It's
Sevens are good.
so well. I think it's above a 7. I just think that like I see where the 7s are coming from. Is you know what I mean? Obviously, everyone
Yeah.
has different opinions. But the thing is it's like the story is really interesting to me. Like what they're focusing on in this game, no doubt, is the story. And I'm fine with things being slow. I mean, I played through Red Dead 2, and there was definitely some slow parts in that. And I really enjoyed Red Dead 2, and I've been really enjoying this. There's a lot of talking in this. There's a lot of, someone in the story tells you to do something in a little short cutscene, then you go do it, and it's kind of slow to like you walk there, you kind of chat with a colleague as you go there and you do something. I think I played for like an hour or two, and I hadn't even like shot a gun. I think I've had one firefight sequence in the whole time I've been playing, and I'm playing for like 5-6 hours.
Mhm.
I've driven a car one time. Like it's to that extent, but so I get it. I get that like there's that slowness, but it's like a classic story. And I've heard people say that like, oh, the story is kind of predictable and stuff. I get that as well, but it's a mob story, and it's it's in a part of Sicily/Italy that we've never seen before. I think it's Italy. I don't know if it's Sicily or not. I can't remember now, but it's in very early 1900s Italy. I've never seen that in a game. The game is really beautiful as well. It's a blast. Like I'm having a great time. Like I want to see the next story beat all the time as I play it, which is really cool. And so I've been playing the crap out of that. I would say this reminds me of the same impressions I got out of Mafia 2 when it first came out.
Mhm.
To be clear, Mafia 2 is like a different experience. It's also an older title. The thing is Mafia 2, like the parts of Mafia 2 that like I really remember it are like the story beats. And I remember like you come home from the war and you're only on leave, and then somebody kind of pulls some strings and he's like, I gotcha, you don't have to go back. You know what I mean? And then he like kind of like weasels you out of the war and stuff. Like I remember those story beats, and this is what I think I'm going to remember from this game. So it's definitely a Matt Lawrence game, definitely a game that I needed right now, especially coming off of Cyberpunk. Like I don't want to be running around doing side objectives. I don't want to be leveling up or really anything. I will say the skills are awesome. It's on a rosary, so you like upgrade
Oh.
like parts of a rosary. There's like kind of charms on a rosary, and it'll be like
Yeah.
you can have a certain amount of charms, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, I'm having a blast, even though it is slow in that. But other than that, did a bit of Apex, won a match or two of that, so that was cool. We did a little bit of Battlefield, I believe. That fucking party system is broken as shit.
Is this still
And
weird?
no, it's broken. It literally
Mm.
doesn't work. So what happened is the host invites me. So I go in, I'm in the party with the host. We're in the main menu. The host will queue up a game. It doesn't matter what mode. We've tried multiple. Boots up a mode, and it'll play the music like as if we're about to join. So it'll say like, host is finding game. And it says like game found. Then it plays the music like as if we're about to join. And then it zooms in this latest patch, it zooms into my character, and my character stands up because he's a 3D model in the menu, and he's sitting down. He stands up like as if he's about to go, and then it just zooms back out and doesn't go anywhere. And then I'll ask the host, because I'm in a party with them, are you in a game? Oh yeah. I'm not in the game, and I can't join them now. So then the host has to leave and then try again and try again and try again. And it has been broken since launch. And the only thing that's changed with the party system is that zoom in with the stand up. That music and everything used to just happen, and so basically it was like a more of a static menu, and it would just say counting down, the host is looking for a game. Hey, we found a game. And then it just wouldn't join you in. Now it's like it's doing that but animated. But it's still broken as shit. And it does it in between rounds too. So it'll re-queue you. Like let's say we do all get into a round finally, and then we go to a second round, it'll randomly kick random people out in the party. So we've had parties with 3 people, and just like one of us for some reason doesn't get in. And we thought it was due to Nat or something like that, but it's always one of us randomly. So it's not that. And the host always gets in. So it's almost like it's joining people in to either matches where they can't join it, or there's not enough room to join it, and it's just like, oh, whatever, just throw the host in. And it's been broken since launch, which is like, this is a AAA fucking experience that we paid like $90 for. Like, I don't mean to sound entitled or something, but like, you should have a fucking party system. Like Call of Duty 2 had a party system. Not Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4 had a party system. Like, what are we doing? Infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. Like well, like I was playing with a friend, and he even said, he's like, I'm kind of over this. He's like, well, I'm joining 3-4 matches in an
Yeah.
hour, and we have to back out. Oh, we have to back out, and then and the host has to wait for it to fucking load. So he has to load, then he has to back out, load, then we have to back out. Infuriating. EA, what the fuck are you doing? You know what? Come on. AAA title. It's your big. It's your tremendous live service game. As I if I remember,
Right.
you know, someone saying that on an investor call. If a tremendous live service, have a tremendous party system. We could fucking join a match with your friends. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
God, and I am forgiving of bugs because I am a developer myself. I'm forgiving of bugs to an extent, but this is now negligence. Like, what the fuck is going on here? That's it. I guess that rant ends my week. Ryan, what have you been playing?
Oh, quite a bit actually. Surprisingly, I have been putting some time into Horizon Forbidden West. The facial animations in that game are gorgeous. I don't know what it is. Like, it's not necessarily like the most detailed facial animations, I think, but there's something about the faces in that game that almost look real to me. I know they're not, but it almost looks like they took a picture. Maybe they used that freaking machine learning company that Sony just bought. But it looks like they took a picture of these people, and that's what I'm looking at in the game. And that only overstates it a bit. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It still looks like a video game.
Right.
But it looks like people. It's very bizarre.
Has anyone else said this? Have you watched a review or anything and someone has said this?
Not recently. I haven't looked at anything recently, but I just have that's how I've always felt just looking at it. Like, it's just like some people's faces are just like, holy crap, that's a human. You know? I don't know. Very bizarre. But anyway, slowly plugging away at that. That's going to take me a long, long, long time. But I've actually been playing my Switch quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
So we went away on a little like friends like getaway thing, and I brought my Switch and I bought Mario Kart World. And that, I mean, speaking of expensive games, that was like $126 or something like that.
Yeah, 110 before tax. Yeah.
So that was wild. But I've actually been playing it, and I got three gold stars on each level at 100cc, and then it unlocked like the final like whatever it was. I still haven't done that yet. Maybe I'll move up to the 150cc now or something. But I've actually been playing freaking Mario Kart a lot, and that is surprising. Part of it is I think I actually learned how to play it. I never knew how to drift before. I've played Mario Kart, you know, a few times over my life. I never knew how to drift properly.
What were you doing?
Turning.
Just turning?
Yeah.
Oh, for Pete's sake, Ryan. What the heck?
But I learned like when you have to start the drift, how to control the drift. I now know that like you get like a little boost, and if you hold the drift longer, you get an even further boost.
Yeah, that's the point of it, more or less.
I've learned how to like what the items do. Like, I actually know what they do now. I know how to counter other people's attacks with items, and I've just been playing and having a good time all by myself.
Man,
wild, right?
You're playing a Nintendo game.
Yeah, I got a bit of Pokemon Legends ZA in as well, and a smidge of Fire Red, which is like I'm so close to finishing Fire Red. I should just do it, like Christ.
Yeah. You keep like you told us like rather quickly within like 2 podcasts that you were like almost done.
I have like 1 gym left. Like yeah, that's how close I am.
Oh my god.
And then on to the Elite Four or wherever the heck it is. And then we played the Division Resurgence. Well, we played it separately. We didn't play together, but we both like kind of got through the intro and stuff. But yeah, just what's your early thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I downloaded it right away. Just kind of like let it download while I was working one day, and then I took a break and ripped through the campaign or the training. I thought the character customization was lacking. Couldn't put a beard on my character.
Was it lacking?
Very lacking.
Crap.
Like 4 or 5 faces or something. Not very good. It says you can't change your appearance after either. I thought, oh, they'll add new faces and stuff later, and then I'll be able to change it. It's like, nah, you can't do that. Maybe an update will change that rule. Who knows?
If it's successful, I can imagine them doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did the training. The training was fine. You have 3 abilities. I was using the touch controls. I have not used a controller yet. I was downloading the additional assets the entire time. So I was getting a bit of my phone was heating up a bit. And it definitely was like the frame rate wasn't amazing. But I did read that it's because of that download, which I kind of suspected. So I'm not going to hold that against it yet.
Hmm.
I also downloaded on a tablet. I just got it downloaded, and I made sure to download the extra assets as well. But I haven't actually played it yet on there. But I'd like to try next with a controller. I played a tiny bit of the first mission, and it's like go meet up with somebody, and so I was like running through, and I'm not sure quite yet. I just haven't reached the point. Is if the game is open world, like am I going to see other people? I know there's the Dark Zone because I downloaded some Dark Zone assets, so there's that. I just don't know how the game loop is when you get kind of into the first
Yeah.
or past the first missions, I suppose. But I mean, it seems fine. Like I was able to have a good time with the touch controls, and I'm kind of eager to get back to it for sure. I thought it was pretty cool. What did you think?
Yeah, I actually played the whole like intro section with my backbone, and
Oh
I thought
yeah,
it worked. I thought it worked pretty well. One thing of note with the backbone, at least the first gen one, or maybe it's the second gen at this point, but it's not the Pro model. The standard that backbone, the triggers are super sensitive. So I just had my fingers resting on them, and I was like aiming down sights accidentally and stuff.
oh what the heck?
Um, and I also downloaded on my tablet, just like you, on my iPad, and I used a Xbox controller, and it played just like the console version of the game, which was crazy. So I think they did a pretty good job with that. One weird thing is like you can't just hit like B or circle to go back. You have to drag the cursor over to the back button. So I think a bit more work could be put into controller support. And I kind of want to play this with the controller, not really with the screen controls. Although I'm playing it right now, it seems pretty all right.
It's okay. My problem with a lot of shooters though, and maybe this is changeable in the mode, is that I'm aiming with the right stick, and if I press and hold shoot, I can continue to aim, but I don't want to miss like half my clip while I like kind of zoom, like get my
If you
aim
do the
in.
auto shoot with aim, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the default controls, I believe, if memory serves. Now there is a shoot button that will appear over on the left side, but then I have to stop strafing in order to
It's
aim
a
and
bit,
shoot.
yeah,
And
yeah.
on console, like obviously I'm strafing with the left stick while I'm aiming, and then I choose when to shoot because I'm doing this sort of dance that I'm
Hmm.
used to, and it's just not quite there with shooters and on mobile. And I think I fixed that on maybe COD Mobile. I like just changed the mode, so maybe it's just a mode away. But I do want to try controller next first, I think, before I mess with any touch controls again.
I do play COD Mobile like that, where it automatically shoots when you aim down your sights, and I do like that. But in this kind of game, where it takes like a lot of bullets to take someone out, you can rip through a clip pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Um, just aiming at the guy, you know.
you're ripping like yeah, you rip through 20 bullets, let's say, or maybe 10 bullets of a 30 mag clip, and then it's like, oh great, now I have to reload because this guy has like 10% of his health left.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah. So that
fantastic, and I can only imagine what it's going to be like in the harder levels.
right. So that does suck. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's pretty good. I don't know. I hope it does well. I don't know how it's going to do, but I want to try multiplayer with you at some point. We tried, but the server was down for maintenance. Actually, they gave us some rewards for that. So if you
Oh really?
log in now, yeah.
You know what? I will say this. I and this is extremely rare that I let an app send me notifications. I really like the Division though, so I thought, all right, I'll let it do it. And it's only sent me one.
I've kind of been doing the Adriano model where it's like I'll turn it on, but if you piss me off, you're going off. And right now, yeah, I just start with everything on.
You know what's the biggest piss off? Slightly off topic is friggin' Facebook.
Mm. Hmm.
Holy crap. Now it's sending me messages that I got messages in Messenger when I have Messenger installed. It's like, I'm not going to open Facebook, bro. Like,
Hmm.
stop notifying me.
Yeah. And then I bought Crimson Desert on my Mac because I wanted to see
Crazy.
how well it ran. It runs okay on an M2 Max. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it's doing okay. The controls are wacky as poop. Now, I've only played it for like half an hour, so this is a very early impression. But just the controls alone are very odd. It's like you can't just slash and mash a button and hope you'll win the fight. That is not the way to do it.
What did it do?
I think it's very much like you have to like attack when there's an opening, or you have to defend and then attack, and there's some kind of mechanism in there, and there's something that fills up and depletes as I'm fighting. I don't know the relationship with it yet, because when it fills up, I still can't attack. So I don't know what's going on there yet. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But it's like I can't just swing sometimes. And I feel like they're trying to get me into more of a fighting thing where it's like more, you know, defend then attack, defend then attack.
And sorry, so you literally can't swing at all, or you?
I hit the swing button and it doesn't happen.
Okay, so okay, I thought you meant like it wasn't effective. You know, you swung at somebody and they deflected it.
No,
or
no,
something.
it won't swing. The guy won't swing his sword, even
Wow.
though I'm hitting and mashing the swing button.
I did hear from somebody, I think it might have been somebody from the Pearl Abyss, where they said it takes some getting used to. And honestly, I've heard few complaints about the controls. So maybe it is something if you get it about an hour in, Ryan, a couple hours in, it'll be second nature to you.
Yeah, I also compared just the movement of the characters to like Red Dead or to like a GTA, and you have to mash A to run, stuff like that. So that's very similar. But yeah, Matt, you wanted to talk about the weird roller coaster the game's been on in
Yeah.
terms of the reviews came out. Some were positive, some were negative.
Yep.
There was a lot of discourse online once it came out, but then it sells like 4 million copies. And is it Steam now highly rated or highly reviewed now?
I didn't pull that up. I just actually pulled up the Metacritic here just to kind of look at it live. Crimson Desert, I think last time when we were looking at the Metacritic, it was around 77, and it remains there. That's 77. But the user score is very favorable. It's almost 9. It's at 8.8.
Yeah, on Steam, very positive. It's rated 39,000 reviews.
Yeah, like what was interesting was like you sent me a couple of the milestone images that they had posted on
Yeah.
X and that, where it was, you know, hey we hit 1 million sales, hey we hit 2 million sales. And I just kept joking around, but I was like, oh, dead game. I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
Because it was, you know, kind of didn't seem to be received well. And I don't know, the users have kind of like defied the critics or something here, which is interesting. Certainly not the first time it's happened, but they were quite aligned originally. And it seems like the people have spoken. They seem to really like it.
Yeah. That's wild. So we'll see if I keep up with it. I've been wanting to play a full game on my Mac for a long time. It was supposed to be Assassin's Creed. I kind of abandoned that because I wanted better visuals. And this game is supposedly very good looking, so maybe that'll happen again. But I wanna see how far I get.
Man, it's just something I just like. I like a good looking game, of course, you know. But man, holy crap, do I not care? I played Baldur's Gate 3 with like walls not loading in and crap, like
yeah,
because I was playing it on a hard drive, which I really shouldn't have been at the time. But
yeah.
The thing is with this game, though, once again, is goddamn price. Like, I don't want to pay this full price for this thing. You know what, though? I will say this. My opinion is obviously skewed due to reasons I've already said, like Game Pass. My opinion's absolutely skewed by the scale of this game. I just played friggin' Cyberpunk for like 3 months. I'm not doing that right now. I'm not going back into a game that's gonna, you know, hold me through the summer, through the beginning of the summer or something. That's too much right now. I need to play some linear shit. I need to get through some stuff.
Well, I got a proposal for you, Matt.
What's that?
Guild Wars Reforged is on sale.
What the heck is Guild Wars Reforged?
It's the original Guild Wars MMO, HDified, modernized and HD.
When did that come out? I didn't know it was a thing.
The December 3rd, 2025.
Oh my god. No, I played Guild Wars. I beat that game. That's over.
Okay.
I've been through the ups and downs. I remember the market going up and down. I lost my job in that game. It was horrible, and I was broke as fuck. And yeah, no. All right.
All right. All right. We stream on Wednesdays, twitch.tv/DamonPatchMedia, 9 p.m. Eastern. We actually just beat Warhammer 40K something Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2. We're gonna continue with the end game now, though.
We're in the end game now.
Well, you get to actually make your own Space Marine now.
Oh yeah, and unlock cosmetics.
Yeah.
And whatnots. All right. So yeah, so we'll be doing that. So please join us there, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey yo, peace.